Welcome to Earthly Reads, a My Cup of Earth production. Once in a forest, where the trees were as tall as giants and the creatures were as curious as can be, there lived a little rabbit named Rosie. Rosie was a gentle soul with soft, fluffy fur the color of freshly fallen snow and bright, shiny eyes that sparkled like the stars on a clear night. She loved to explore the forest, discovering hidden streams and secret meadows, and making friends with all the creatures she met along the way. One day, while out on an adventure, Rosie stumbled upon a hidden clearing deep in the forest. In the center of the clearing stood an enormous, ancient tree, its branches twisted and gnarled with age. The tree seemed to hum with a gentle, magical energy, and Rosie felt an inexplicable pull towards it. As she approached the tree, a soft, whispery voice spoke to her, saying, "Welcome, little one. I have been waiting for you." Rosie's ears perked up in surprise, and she looked around to see who was speaking. But there was no one in sight. The voice seemed to come from the tree itself. "Who are you?" Rosie asked, her voice trembling with excitement. "I am the guardian of the forest," replied the tree. "And you, little one, are the chosen one. You have been brought here for a very special purpose." Rosie's curiosity was piqued. "What purpose?" she asked. "The forest is in trouble," said the guardian. "A dark force has begun to spread, threatening to destroy the balance of nature and harm the creatures who call this forest home. I need your help to stop it." Rosie's eyes grew wide with determination. "I'll help," she exclaimed. "What do I need to do?" Quote, the guardian smiled, its branches rustling with approval. "You will need to gather 3 ancient artifacts: the crystal of clarity, the feather of flight, and the seed of life. These artifacts hold the power to defeat the dark force and restore balance to the forest. But be warned, little one. The journey will be difficult and fraught with danger." Rosie nodded bravely. "I'm not afraid," she said. "I'll do whatever it takes to help the forest." And with that, the guardian presented Rosie with a map, leading her to the first artifact, the crystal of clarity. Rosie set off immediately, following the winding path through the forest. As she walked, the trees grew taller and the air grew thick with mist, making it difficult to see more than a few feet ahead. Just when Rosie was starting to lose hope, a soft, glowing light appeared in the distance. As she approached, she saw that it was a small clearing, surrounded by a ring of mushrooms that shone like tiny lanterns. In the center of the clearing stood a pedestal, and on top of the pedestal rested the crystal of clarity. But as Rosie reached out to take the crystal, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was a tall, menacing figure with glowing red eyes and skin as black as coal. "You'll never leave this forest alive," it growled, its voice like a rusty gate. Rosie stood her ground, her heart pounding in her chest. "I'm not afraid of you," she said, trying to sound braver than she felt. The figure laughed, its voice sending shivers down Rosie's spine. "You should be," it said. "I am the Shadow King, and I will stop at nothing to claim the crystal of clarity for myself." Rosie knew she had to think fast. She remembered the words of the guardian, who had told her that the crystal of clarity held the power of clarity and wisdom. And so, she decided to use her own wisdom to outsmart the Shadow King. "I'm not here for the crystal," Rosie said, trying to sound convincing. "I'm here to learn from it. I want to know the secrets of the forest and how to keep it safe from harm." The Shadow King snorted. "You think you're clever, don't you? But I'm not fooled. You're just trying to distract me while you sneak away with the crystal." Rosie shook her head. "No, I'm telling the truth. And if you let me take the crystal, I promise to use its power to help the forest, not harm it." The Shadow King hesitated, clearly unsure of what to do. And in that moment, Rosie saw her chance. She reached out and took the crystal of clarity, feeling its power surge through her. The Shadow King let out a roar of rage and charged towards Rosie. But she was ready for him. With the crystal's power guiding her, she dodged and weaved around the Shadow King's attacks, using her quick thinking and agility to evade his blows. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the Shadow King stumbled and fell. Defeated, Rosie stood victorious, the crystal of clarity held tightly in her paws. As she made her way back to the Guardian, she realized that the journey had changed her. She had grown braver and more confident, and she knew that she was capable of overcoming even the greatest challenges. The Guardian was waiting for her, its branches rustling with approval. "Well done, little one," it said. "You have passed the first test, but there are 2 more artifacts to find. And the journey will only grow more difficult from here." Rosie nodded, her determination renewed. "I'm ready," she said. "I'll do whatever it takes to save the forest." And with that, the Guardian presented her with a new map, leading her to the next artifact, the Feather of Flight. Rosie set off once more, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. But as she journeyed deeper into the forest, she began to realize that the journey was not just about collecting artifacts, but about learning valuable lessons about herself and the world around her. She learned about the importance of perseverance, courage, and wisdom, and she discovered that even the smallest creatures can make a big difference. And so, Rosie continued on her quest, facing challenges and overcoming obstacles, until finally, she had collected all 3 artifacts and was ready to face the dark force head-on. With the Crystal of Clarity, the Feather of Flight, and the Seed of Life in hand, Rosie felt a surge of confidence and determination. She knew that she was ready to save the forest, and she set off to confront the dark force once and for all. As she approached the dark force, she could feel its power growing stronger, threatening to consume everything in its path. But Rosie was undaunted, using the power of the artifacts to guide her. With the Crystal of Clarity, she saw the truth and knew what to do. With the Feather of Flight, she soared above the dark force, using her agility and quick thinking to evade its attacks. And with the Seed of Life, she planted a seed of hope and renewal, spreading its power throughout the forest. Slowly but surely, the dark force began to recede, and the forest began to heal. The creatures emerged from their hiding places, blinking in the bright sunlight, and Rosie, exhausted but triumphant, stood victorious, knowing that she had saved the forest and restored balance to the natural world. The Guardian of the forest appeared once more, its branches rustling with gratitude. "Well done, little one," it said. "You have saved the forest and proved yourself to be a true hero. From this day forward, you will be known as the Guardian of the Forest, and you will be responsible for protecting and preserving the natural world." Rosie smiled, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. She knew that she had grown and learned so much on her journey, and she was ready to continue her work as the Guardian of the Forest. And so, Rosie returned to the forest, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Armed with the knowledge and power of the Crystal of Clarity, the Feather of Flight, and the Seed of Life, she knew that she would always be ready to defend the forest and its creatures. And she was proud to be their guardian. The end. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.